All right. So today marks my 21st day of staying inside. Yay. So I haven't stepped foot outside of my apartment at all this entire time. I like to think of it as making a small contribution to everyone's effort of containing the spread. I am staying home with my parents, both of whom are out of jobs, and honestly speaking, we are anxious about the money insecurity, but thankfully they do have a small savings. But as a family living in New York City, our savings isn't sufficient to sustain our living for a long period of time without income, especially contributing to rent and the increased expense of for food. I've helped my parents file for unemployment, but of course, due to a high volume of people who are filing in New York, we haven't heard anything back yet, and it's been a month that they've gone unemployed. Things are hard, but we are staying optimistic. We're praying every day that things get back to normal very soon. I'll show quickly of the daily cheers for moral boost and our hardworking medical workers in New York City. It's 7 p.m. right now, and I think people are trying to cheer right now. It's kind of quiet, so hope you can hear it.
I think I have been trying to acknowledge that these things are out of my control, and I have been trying to actively focus on being understanding and grateful instead. So grateful that I have secure housing and food. Grateful that the administration is handling better than a lot of other colleges out there, and grateful for my professors for understanding for being understanding of this whole thing, and just grateful that I have like easy access to the internet so I can stay connected to my family even though they're on the other side of the world. Yeah, and just being understanding towards everybody, because like I think everybody just tends to, I think people just naturally tend to forget at the end of the day, like people are like, everybody is going through their own struggles and they have their own set of struggles. So the good thing that I'm getting out of this time is, I think, just taking the time to reconnect with everyone and appreciating the things that I usually tend to take for granted. So yeah, that has been my experience during the coronavirus and how I've been feeling.
Quarantine has been a mix of feelings. It's a little bit more stressful than relaxing, but it's been stressful because school has gone from in-person teaching to online courses, and that's been a little bit difficult. It's also stressful because you don't know who may contract the virus, so you're consistently worrying, especially when you go out, because you can't stay in all the time. You have to go out and eventually go get food or gas or something, so that's why it's been a little bit stressful. And but it has been a relaxing too, because you have more time to focus on yourself since you're not as going. Hopefully, you're not as going out as much, and you get to really focus on yourself and hopefully focus on other things that are probably more important than socializing. I mean, it hasn't been really too hard on for me since I'm not that outgoing, but it has taken a toll where I do miss going out and seeing friends. So
I am a senior at Wesleyan from China. The COVID-19 first started in the lab at the end of last year, and China was most severely impacted at the beginning of this year. At that time, many students in US, including students in Wesleyan, organizing donations to support Wuhan and other places in China. Nobody thought it was going to be severe in US, but in the past few months, US people are suffering and dying, and has the highest number of confirmed around the world. it's a sad thing, but a lot of people at this time are criticizing and rumoring about the Chinese government and its people, which is totally wrong, I think. In the past 4 years at Wesleyan, I've never met any kind of discrimination as a Chinese. But in the last month, I've met a lot of discrimination, including people shouting in the street, coughing at me, and I don't think it's a good sign.
Hello, my name is Mitsuke. I'm a senior, and I'm helping Shakira out with her project, and just talking a little bit about my experience during this quarantine and my feelings that I've been going through. As a senior, it's been very difficult just to know that I won't get to spend my last semester with the friends and the people I've met at Wesleyan, and to share these last moments. It's been kind of hard to go to Zoom school and, not have that experience of being on campus. But I know it is the sensible thing to do right now. It is difficult though. Motivation is something that I've been trying to build up in myself, and also just my ability to stay positive and kind of accept what's going on, but not let it define my experience this semester and before I graduate.
Hi, my name is Brittany, and this is my Corona experience. We've been on lockdown for about 2 months now, and I was already a stay-at-home mom, so staying in the house with the kids all day wasn't a big deal. It's just now I have to do more work. Like with my older kids, I'm pretty much the teacher. I'm doing all their schoolwork online. My younger kids do speech therapy, and so now they have to do it through Zoom, which is kind of hard because they're only 3 and they don't really get the concept of talking to people through a computer. But they're getting better at doing it. Other than that, the only challenging thing I would say is just keeping the kids entertained. They're all around the same age, so they're always fussing and fighting. And we can't go to like Chuck E. Cheese or somewhere for them to run around. So just trying to keep them busy in the house for the most part. But yeah, my Corona experience, it hasn't really been much different than how my life already was. So yeah, that's that.
I guess this video is a little bit about explaining how I am so far in the midst of this global pandemic with COVID-19. I can start off saying that, like, right now I am okay. I think this past month we kind of been settling in, and we kind of settled in, but there's still a lot of troubles here and there. If anything, I can just say that I'm like in my basement right now just because there's so many people in my household that I force myself to move down to the basement so that I can have my own space. So that's something that's been going on since the global pandemic and stuff, having to come home and like struggling with finding my own peace and quiet to do, the rest of my schoolwork since everything's online now. So taking this decision, think of the decision to, even move to the basement, where it is cold, but like having my own kind of space to just do my work. I guess, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So aside from really needing a haircut, this pandemic honestly hasn't changed too much about my daily routine because I'm naturally an introvert and spend most of my time indoors anyway. It has, however, brought me an increased awareness of how our federal government and state government works as far as handling national disaster goes, and also has brought me a very increased amount of concern for vulnerable populations that are at risk for something like the coronavirus, such as the elderly or lower income communities. And I'm deeply concerned even for the people that are outside of those risk areas, such as my friends and family, and even some of my favorite musicians, artists, and entertainers, because there are plenty of stories on the news of perfectly healthy young people who have succumbed to the illness, and it is deeply concerning. especially seeing where our government's priorities lie during this pandemic.
In regards to my daily routine for this pandemic, nothing pretty much has been affected. I guess you could say I am sleeping in more, but at the same time, I'm also getting more work done because I'm at home, and that's mainly because of my work ethic. In regards to views, how has this impacted my view of certain things? It definitely has impacted my view in regards to, well, for one, how our nation is not ready for something like this to ever happen again. I don't think we'll be ready for a solid 20, 30 years. In addition to that, the education system that we currently have in place, those in lower income communities that don't have complete access to mobile devices such as laptops, computers, tablets, phones, don't really have access to remote learning. In addition to those with psychological needs like therapy and whatnot, it's definitely challenging for many students, children and adult alike. So I feel as if that's pretty much what has changed in regards to this pandemic.
Because of the coronavirus, I've been feeling a little sad, anxious, alone. There's so many emotions that I've been feeling, considering that I'm a senior and I never got to have my senior spring, and everything was like taken away in like a second. It's hard having to live with that reality. And also it kind of angers me because also I'm applying for jobs and it's kind of hard to get a job because of, there's a hiring freeze happening, and we just can't go outside. And I've been cooped up in my house for over a month and some change. And I don't know, I'm just really scared. But yeah, perhaps maybe I'm going into a depression. Who knows?
Like many, I was in disbelief about the impact that COVID-19 would have on my life. After all, there was nothing that I could relate to. Schools were closed, and then we were forced with the task of having to scurry to get things in order to do distance learning for our students. I think I did really well for a while because I was constantly busy, but then at some point, I started to really confront the idea of my own mortality. Being locked up in the house all this time, really took a toll on me, and it started to impact me being able to focus, eventually leading to me feeling a lot of anxiety and panic and stress. As someone who focuses on mental health for a profession, I knew I had to get it under control, and so I did start a lot of self-care routines.
I'm Crystal Rose Hill. I'm the accessibility specialist at Wesleyan University. I live in East Hampton, Connecticut. And this is my video journal summary of my experience from COVID-19. On March 11th, 2020, Wesleyan made the announcement that in-person classes would be suspended, and my supervisor was out that week. So I began to think about the ways that our office could support students remotely. Her first day back to the office, which was Monday the following week, we put together the beginnings of a plan for what we would do for the rest of the semester. And then the very next day, Tuesday, March 17th, I packed up my office to work from home. I had gotten the flu in February and had developed a lot of complications from it and was still recovering and only working part-time when all this started. So even though Wesleyan hadn't yet started to send staff home, even though they had made the decision for students. My supervisor and I had made the decision that it was best that I begin to work from home right away. And I do meet with a health coach once every 2 weeks, but I don't seem to be making much progress. It was already hard because I have ongoing health issues, and it was already difficult to exercise a whole lot. And now I also just don't have the motivation either, because I feel like I don't know, I'm not doing that much, and so I'm not doing that much, if that makes sense. Like, you have to do something to feel like you want to do something. Dave and I have started taking virtual dance lessons, and so that's given me some dances to practice, and that's about the only exercise that I get now, which is better than nothing. The reason we're taking dance lessons is because we're supposed to be getting married in February. We're still going to get married in February, but we have started to talk about how the wedding plans may change and be different. We haven't made any decisions yet, but the reality is we probably can't have the wedding we were originally planning. I don't even know that I want to now, because priorities are a little bit different than they used to be. And I think it's just more important for the two of us to live the life we want, and maybe less important to do what everyone else wants to do when we're celebrating. I see my mom from a distance when she visits, and I stay on the deck and she's in the driveway, because I can't hug her. And it's really hard to be exhausted at the end of the day from video meetings from work that I don't want to video chat with my sister. It's really hard to feel like I have no time alone ever, because I share a small condo with Dave and Felix and Ellie, who are our two cats. I'm scared that someone I know will get sick. I'm scared that I'll get sick. And I'm just tired. I'm tired of being on the computer all the time. I'm tired of cooking 3 meals a day, and I'm just tired of being scared.
Thank you. This moment of adversity, shared experiences, and the loss and death of loved ones unites us all together in a sad yet beautiful way. Hopefully we can learn and grow from this experience. Thank you.